Seb, you were on Married at First Sight.
For me, it was very, very positive. Fascinating about understanding human psychology. Not only was I having a fantastic time because I met Liz and we got along like a house on fire, but I was just really, really fascinated by the...
All right. Welcome to the Pre-Workout Podcast. I'm your host, Kwame, and today I'm here with the man himself, Seb. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Okay, well, look, at the moment, I'm a fitness wellness coach, a lover of fitness, all things fitness. But my real passion, I guess, is sort of understanding people. I regard myself as a fairly eccentric sort of alien sort of person. I love to have a laugh and I love uplifting people. Very positive spirited. Yes, and I found myself in the wellness field.
You do look positive spirited, and just even I feel like your presence alone is something that could lift up people's spirits. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
And there's one question I always ask, either at the start or the end of the podcast, and is, what is your wealth? Like, is it happiness? Is it drama? Is it knowledge?
Definitely not drama.
There's so much, I mean, my wealth is in knowledge, family, friends, and ambition too. So what is your wealth?
Yeah. Well, I tell you this, I would have to say, support, whether that's family or friend support. Of course, happiness. That's the bottom line. More and more, I'm trying to seek bliss rather than pleasure and stimulus. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So pure, real deep down happiness, which is, I guess, finding and doing what you love with a supportive group of people and family around you is my idea of happiness.
That's awesome. And that's good to hear as well, because, happiness can be described in so many different ways. Some people, like I said, what is your wealth? Some people actually find their wealth in drama. They get
Yeah, don't I know it? Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome to hear, and quite genuine too. So, Seb, you were on Married at First Sight, and that question is gonna pop up regardless.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Do you know what? Like, for me, it was very, very positive, and I was very, very curious going into it. Obviously, I'm with some very, very interesting individuals around me. Do you know what I mean? And as I said, I'm fascinated about understanding human psychology. And so I was actually on one level, not only was I having a fantastic time because I met Liz and we got along like a house on fire, but also I found that I was just really, really fascinated by these super intelligent and just interesting people in their own right. And then on top of that was the whole, I guess, the fast forwarded sort of environment, pressure environment as it was, which can't really, you sort of had to be there to be able to explain exactly how intense that was. But I loved it overall. I loved the experience.
That's crazy. And it's it seemed like such a fun experience, and also like you said, you had some quite intelligent people. Did you find that you learned a lot and grew as a person while being on the show?
In terms of growth, absolutely. It's constantly having to open up and express yourself. And I guess the pressure, at the time it might not have seemed like it, but to be able to express yourself and be vulnerable in settings like that with cameras around you and all that sort of thing, it really does help you, I guess, step up to a level and just throwing yourself out there constantly. It really is good for my growth. Absolutely.
That's awesome. And there's a lot of people out there that I guess struggle to, like, let's say even just be in front of the camera, and they could be very introverted, but they want to, let's say, build a social media following, or, go on a TV show. They really want to do it, but they don't know how to start. Do you have any advice for someone that's very introverted, but wants to get themselves out there, but for instance, get onto a TV show, or like even just film for social media? A lot of people do struggle with things like that. Is there any advice you can give to, because obviously you seem like such a happy person, you're vibrant, you don't seem shy at all. So,
Yeah, well, do you know what? Kwame, for most of my life, and you probably wouldn't know this, man, I've had very, very terrible social anxiety. I've really had to. I mean, before I won the show, I was also in an environment. I was doing a creative arts degree, and every single day I was throwing myself out of my comfort zone. I was nearly, it was overwhelming at times, but through that, constantly doing it, I was proving to myself that it's okay, that I'm safe, that I can express, and that ability I improved over time. So I know you've seen me do some things which seem very extroverted, but I'm actually very introverted, and I have in my entire life struggled with serious anxiety. So I guess what I would say to people is practice. Start small and practice. Even I guess we've got we've got our story. We can film and express ourselves on that format. That's a start. You can do your own things in front of the camera for YouTube and things like that. It is all practice. And maybe confiding in someone close and practicing with someone close and doing it regularly, as you would know.
That's amazing. And I think this is also like great because there's a lot of people that would like to hear that. And more importantly, like you said, you were like an introvert, but you also like anything, you worked hard to basically build on skills that you didn't think that you had. So you just kept practicing, and it's good that you're actually saying this out there. And it's also good for people to know that, you haven't always been like that, and always, easy to jump in front of the camera and have like such a great personality like yourself and show it to the world. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people with great personalities, but they do struggle to also
100%.
show as well. So that's a big thing. And would you say like being like you've done like some bodybuilding in the past? I know we used to do some vodka shots back in the day. Yeah. So we're gonna dive a little bit into your bodybuilding aspect. Do you think the question I really want to ask is, do you think bodybuilding competitions are healthy?
No. So what I'm doing at the moment is all about sustainability and health, and something that can be factored into your everyday. Yep. I find that, and as you would know, bodybuilding competitions are very straining on your system in a lot of ways. I think it's a great life experience to have, but ongoing, I think it can really take its toll in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm all about having your passions and things like that, but also having a sustainable life that's balanced. I find with bodybuilding, in a lot of ways, physically, mentally, all sorts of ways, especially towards competition time, can be very straining.
And I do 100% agree with you. Like, I do like the challenge with competing. Don't get me wrong. So if anyone is competing, don't be discouraged. But one of the things I've always said is also make sure you know what you're in for. And it is quite intense. It does take a lot out of your life, and it's a journey that you do by yourself. And I love the challenge of it. But again, you also got to make sure you have no issues that you are using bodybuilding, like a bodybuilding competition, as a band-aid to cover, because that's also a very big thing. And I find a lot of people go into a competition as to cover up issues that they already have, and that is not healthy at all.
No, it's not at all. No, sort of. What's the word where you're sort of not distraction, but something like that. Do you know what I mean? You can obsess and delve into something to cover up things rather than directly addressing 100%. Certain issues with your... Yeah, absolutely. I've seen that as well, for sure. Mm-hmm. Covering it up, I find, covering it up almost with an aesthetic, it is literally like a Band-Aid, and just being drawn so far into that system that, other things get ignored. I do see that, yeah.
And do you think, so you competed, in the past, you're into a sustainable lifestyle, which I love. That's all I'm all about. I do coach people to compete, and I always give them the advice about competitions as well and let them know. And I'm sure you do. So you coach clients as well, don't you? Yes,
but I think a different sort of bracket. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. The predominant base of my clients are between 30 and 45 years old. A lot of mums. And I guess it's more cardio based. It's more, I guess, body weight exercise. It's not heavy weights, and it's not. I guess it's less aesthetic based, but still it is, because you want to reach your physical goals, but also it's so much about the mental goals as well. Do you know?
I did a bit of like stalking on your Instagram as usual. What's your
Yeah.
Instagram as well, Seb?
What's that?
What's your Instagram? What's your
Yeah.
Instagram handle? So
Seb Gauilhaus. Seb Gauilhaus.
perfect. And you also run a fitness and wellness business. So for what
Yeah.
you do as well. So what got you into that? Was like, well, why fitness and wellness? Why not just go hard in the gym like your bro bodybuilder?
Do you know what, Kwame? Do you know, it's actually funny because I don't know whether you framed these questions for me. Maybe you did, or maybe it's general. But if it's general, then that's actually fascinating because I think we have a lot in common. But the reason that I am doing a fitness wellness business rather than just a hardcore sort of like fitness in a sense is because for years and years, I've done a lot of my, as I said, the bodybuilding, the aesthetic training, but I've struggled with my social anxieties, sort of my wavering moods and things like that, my ups and downs. And I just know that for happiness, for fulfillment, wellness, there's more dynamics than just like an image. Do you know what I mean? There's more depth to that. There's more things I need. There's all of the behavioral things. There's the good sleep. There's the diet. There's, of course, the exercise. There's the expression. There is the sort of time to meditate, time to relax. I just feel these days, we're thrown into so far reaching externally. We rarely sort of come back to our center. We sort of come back to our base, even if that's family, even if that's just even back to our breath regularly. It's just the need for external validation is so great. So I feel this program that I've created is like a little sort of family community base. It's not, we're not individuals in it. We're very much sort of intertwined with each other. And I think that's what I've sort of needed over the years because the aesthetic has not been, that's been, great at times more for my ego, but not for my overall well-being. It's not been enough to just look good at all, so.
And I love the way you actually structured this because you don't just talk about, of course, like the looking good part of it just comes as a bit of a bonus with, your training, but fitness and wellness is much more than that. It's about how you feel, how you even sleep, how you even connect with people. And you even highlighting that's awesome because people do need to hear that. And I think I can say comfortably that I do have a wealth in fitness. So one of my wealths will be fitness. And not just saying that as an aesthetic point of view, it's more the benefits of fitness, like, how it makes me feel, my mental health even. Those are some of the rewarding parts. Like the aesthetic part of it is just, it's just a bonus. It's not
absolutely
what deeply into fitness. So that's awesome to hear as well. And but would you say like you being into fitness has opened many doors for you?
I think it has. I mean, as you sort of said so well, the positive endorphins that you do get from exercise in general, say fitness is exercise in any, whatever it might be. And I guess that love of seeking those positive endorphins and also so many social reasons, making friends and this sort of thing. I guess it has opened up many doors, especially with football. Football has been something that's really opened up some doors, a lot of job opportunities over the years. I guess, my 17 years of training in the industry and things like that, and now running the fitness wellness business, I've got credibility there. So in that sense, definitely no regrets in regards to delving into sport and fitness and weight training. Absolutely none.
That's awesome. And I was going to ask as well, even though you ended with no regrets, have you had some lows during your fitness careers, even your footy injuries, or times not being able to engage in fitness, or again, like an injury has brought about a low or a negative part of your life where you felt like even though you looked great, you still weren't happy? What has there been any time like in your life like that?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny because society obsesses so much about the external that even, you know, at times in my life when I'm younger, you even trick yourself to think that you're okay. But really, you know, you've got all of these internal battles and things going on. And you combine that with then an injury, you know, it might be a back spasm or things like that, which are constant pain, aggravation. And it does start to get you down. And then when you cannot, you do a proper injury and then, you know, you're so used to, it's ingrained in you to exercise and have those positive endorphins, you know, have your system working like it does normally, and then that stops. It does really put you into a depressive sort of state, I think. Definitely.
And that's crazy. And it's crazy because I had a time where I tore my bicep of the bone, and I was in a bad headspace at that time, because to me that time fitness was everything I had. Well, I thought fitness was everything I had. But one of the things that got me through was gratitude. And again, like, I could still walk, I could still eat, I still had family, friends. And for me, that was some of the things that helped, like, you know, break me through, like, that negative part of my life where I was thinking that I was in a bad place, when generally I actually wasn't. Even though I had that injury, it actually came out as a blessing, because after the injury, I was able to help other people that had gone through exactly the same thing and felt that way too. Have you had a time where you've had to reach in and think about people that are in a worse situation, to be able to basically to be able to appreciate what you have at that point?
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things, isn't it? Because you know what? Like, if you really, for 1 second, you take your foot off the pedal and you really do come back to your breath and really have a deep think, stop reaching, as I said, externally so much. It's easy to have gratitude for all of the things, you know, that you have, as you just expressed.
Sure.
But if you don't do that often, then you can get, I mean, we've all had our hissy fits. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, things are going wrong. We had a hissy fit.
The Wi-Fi's not working.
You know, I don't know, whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? But then, like, I mean, there are people that are going through some, absolutely brutal sorts of things, and it's easy to find gratitude. It's just a matter of, as you said, taking your foot off the pedal, relaxing for a moment, and just going, okay, I've got family, I've got support, I've got a generally healthy body, I've got an injury, sure, but I've got all this opportunity. I mean, do you know? And I think every person has their own gifts and their own genius. Yeah. And if they step back and really reflect on that, it might help in these situations. We all have our hurdles, don't we?
Yes. And you've also been, like, you're obviously quite big on social media. You've done so well for yourself. You've built everything for yourself. With social media, there's positives and negatives. Have you ever been in a place where you've experienced negatives or hate on social media?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? I've always been good at processing random sort of attacks. Yeah. Because, as I said, they're random attacks. I think this might be advice for anybody. We all, I guess, at one point or another, especially if, you know, you get sort of a presence on Instagram, there's more people looking at you, you'll get these things, you'll get these random outbursts. And you've just got to understand that it's not a reflection generally of you, because these random people do not know you like your family know you. Do you know what I mean? It's not an attack on your core self, because they don't know your core self. So when I get these random attacks, I'm like, well, you don't know me at all, you know? So I'm not offended. I expect that there's going to be some and they pop up, but I don't let it get to me. If it's my best friend telling me that I'm an absolute dickhead, then you know, I'll take that to heart. Like, really to heart. But otherwise, But otherwise, you know, I think I see a lot of people get really down, really offended by random attacks. And look, it's random. Everyone's gonna be triggered by something that someone else does, and it's not a reflection generally of you. It's a reflection usually of pain that they're going through, and you have reminded them of something that they're going through, or of an instance in time. It's not generally, you know, unless you have attacked them, yeah, fair enough, get the abuse, you know.
Do you think that, like, you know, responding back with a negative to a negative, say someone that's messaged you something negatively, responding that just feeds into them?
Absolutely, it does, Kwame. If you attack back, what it does, it basically verifies exactly the reasons this person has attacked you in the first place. If you directly strike straight back, it will confirm in their mind the reasons that they think they're attacking you for. If you sit back, you process, and you go, I tell you what I do a lot is I ask the person if they're okay. Are they all right? I'm sorry that I've offended you. Are you okay? And when you do that, you switch the whole dynamic. But if you throw fuel onto a fire you just got to know it's not caused by you directly.
I love it. I mean, there's been times where like people have said something negatively like on my social media, and I've literally like I've got like the perfect roast to roast them back, and I'm like, nah, you're just gonna hold back, and I'll just kind of be like, yeah, thanks for your kind words, mate.
100%. No.
But I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it like, I mean, I'm in a better place now. I've developed the thicker skin. But when I did start, I used to take a lot to heart, and it kind of sucked. But I still held back, and I'll never respond the negative with a negative. I'd always like hold back, but I think that helped me build a bit of resilience over time too. But I did like most of the time I was like ready to roast back, but I'm just like I'm not I'm not gonna do that now. I'm not gonna give them that benefit because they are looking for drama. Like some people do have their wealth as drama, so it is hard to hold back. But it definitely is worth it, like holding back and not feeding
Bro,
their
100%.
drama.
You know what happens when you do buy into it? It's a never-ending train, and you both end up, you got all these things on your list of things to do in that day, and your entire self gets drawn into that argument. That means nothing.
And it doesn't leave there too, because it's on the back of your mind afterwards. And I've had times where I've had people that have absolutely hated me, and I've actually responded really well to them, and they've come back and actually have been exact opposites and actually become fans instead, which has been really cool to see. But I love the points you make across, and one of the things is actually asking, "Are you okay?" I mean,
not in a sarcastic way. Not in a sarcastic way. In a genuine way. There's a difference, you know.
Are you okay, bro?
Are you all right, bro? No. Yeah.
No, I'm trying to think like, is that gonna offend them more?
Oh shit.
But you know what? Genuinely, they might be going through something, and it's sometimes very hard to judge someone. I've had a few experiences where, and that's me being very transparent, where I've actually judged people. I haven't really said it to them, but in my head, I've been judging people, and then later on, they come back and be like, "Look, I was going through something," and I'm like, "Oh, damn, I shouldn't have really thought about it that way." So. It is, you never judge a book by its cover. You definitely don't know what they're going through at that point as well. If they're experiencing some sort of loss or something crazy that we're not like, because we sometimes are lucky enough to have like a lot going on in our lives, but not everyone is exactly blessed with that. So like with me, those are also riches, like just having everything just going too normal, or even not too many things going wrong in a day is something that I count as a wealth as well.
100%. Look, that's my what I've put on my Instagram there is unearthing understanding. As you said, don't judge a book by its cover. I have been on this point. It's important. I've been randomly. I've never struck a human being before. Even though I'm a big, powerful guy, and I look probably like maybe a stereotype of something. but anyway, I never have. But I've been struck before and randomly attacked. And look, my whole being, as I couldn't quite get it out as we started this podcast, probably now I'm freed up a bit more, is unearthing understanding. Everybody has a story. And as you just said before, I have been countlessly proven wrong in regards to initial understanding of a person's persona and what they're about. And I think that is one of the major issues in just normal society, is that we are so used to cutting people off and not getting to the point where we want to understand. We literally just we go, okay, that person fits in this box, that person fits in this box, without actually knowing or wanting to know. Do you know? We just close off.
That is true. And that's a big one. And even through that, like, it takes a certain amount of resilience for you to, let's say, not attack someone, or like for instance, if someone like throws like a negative shade on you, not to like go back fighting back with negative. It takes a lot of resilience. And one of the things I was actually going to ask about was resilience. Is that something that people are born with, or is that something that you kind of build up due to your experiences that you go through?
I am all about life experiences in terms of growth. I am all about addressing your fears. Everyone has their own set of, or their own individual makeup, and I'm a strong believer that resilience is earned through your understanding, through experience. I don't think you're just born tough and wise. Do you know what I mean? I don't believe that. I believe it's through experience. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And obviously, you actually did talk a little bit about your training before, and you were saying about how you obviously you do some weights training, but you also love like a high intensity kind of training, and obviously you have different types of training that and from like just judging by what you said, you kind of like training that you enjoy, so you do it because you enjoy it. Give us like an example of like some of the things you do, or how do you train?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got the AFL side of things.
Yeah.
So you could look at that as like obviously highly aerobic, but then also, you've got your sprint recover, your wrestle. That's sort of all encompassing. Then I've got my I love to do a full body weight circuit,
Yeah.
And keep the heart rate up. But then I also love to attack individual muscle groups as well. It's and I enjoy them all. It really just depends. Because I'm always active, I just look for muscle groups that aren't sore, or like, do you know what I mean? Or like,
I love it. That's awesome.
And I just go hell for leather. And like, I over the last 17 years of training and sport and everything like that, I maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not. I don't really have the harder I train, the better I feel, is the way that it works for me. So whether it's for a run, whether it's football or weights, I like to really go to max effort all the time. I don't have much of a, I'm not very calculated with my counting of sets and reps, but I just sort of max out.
Just train, get in the moment, zone in, and
unleash,
which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And like, I think with something like that, it's easy to keep your passion for being active, because a lot of people do struggle with motivation to train, and sometimes it's just one. It could be even they're doing the same thing. They could be just into a brace split. They could be just into like your usual bodybuilding or powerlifting training, or they could only be doing football training. Sometimes it's nice to explore different areas and try something different. It creates that sort of diversity, and if there's some sort of interest in the sport that you're trying out, it might be something that you take on and add it to what you already have. So that might create some sort of interest.
100%. Kwame, open-mindedness in fitness, but also in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be open to the possibility that you might learn to love something, but you have to try it. That is a common theme with everything. Yeah, for sure.
With that being said, actually, you've raised a great point. What do you think being into fitness actually kind of transcends into other aspects of your life? So, So are there certain qualities that you have utilized from fitness? Because obviously you've been training or being active all your life. Has fitness helped you in any way with any life instances?
Here's a massive one. It seems to be like I'm all about uncomfortability, embracing, fear, but also just in general, uncomfortability, right? It seems we're so comfortable these days, obsessed with comfort. But I've found that the real rewards come from being out of your comfort zone. So in terms of fitness, when you're pushing and you're pushing hard, this is pain, discomfort. And then afterwards you get the rewards, the feeling, the endorphins, and you get the growth, I guess. So it's a great translator to life. You're continuously throwing yourself and pushing hard. It translates across the board, I think.
Wow, that's awesome. And I was actually sitting here thinking, and I was thinking of a topic for this podcast, because I actually didn't make one to start. And I just got one here, getting outside your comfort zone.
Bang, boom,
boom.
Yes.
And it's only because you have so many different qualities and you've done so much, Seb. It's hard to just put it all in one.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. You too, man.
Nah, that's awesome. And is there any sort of advice you would like to give to anyone that is wanting to get into fitness and health and well-being, and two, also, again, any sort of advice that helps them get outside, break outside their comfort zone?
Yes, I get asked this question a lot in terms of motivation and getting started. And what I would say initially, if fitness and exercise hasn't been your thing your entire life, I think to get started, find your friends, your close people, maybe a family member, someone you can do something with, and start somewhere. It might even be a daily walk that you can enjoy with your friend. You can have a chat while you're doing it, and then slowly progress that way. If you're starting from ground zero, otherwise it might be something, a sport that you love. Any way that you can get your body moving, I would advise that to start, you choose things that you relatively enjoy, you're interested in, because it's very difficult to just get up and go, okay, right, I'm gonna run in a straight line for 2 kilometers. Like when you just don't have any interest or passion, it's probably not gonna be sustainable. But if you have a running buddy, if you've got someone supporting you, or maybe something a little bit more, I don't know, stimulating for you, then that's probably more advisable. Yeah. And in terms of throwing yourself out of your comfort zone, look, expression. Find a way, a platform for you to express your truth, not somebody else's truth. So even if that is on your story, I don't know, even if that is expressing to someone close to you initially, practice that. And the more you throw yourself into uncomfortable positions, let me tell you this, you will survive. You will always survive. But that's where growth occurs. I know we think it's the end of the world if we get up and, if it's public speaking or it's something a lot smaller, a smaller step than that. But I tell you, that's how growth occurs. For me, I can't say that in general because we're all different, but that's how it's occurred for me. So.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree with you. And honestly, there's a lot of, I've always been asked, like, also, how do I, get bigger on social media, or how do I start or get into social media? And people are like, oh, I want to post on social media, but I'm too worried about my form and technique. And I say to people, look, if you want to post something training related on social media, post it for you. Post that you're doing, like today, I did 10 bicep curls. You're not telling anyone that that's how they should do it. You're just saying that I did this. And look, if you care, you can join me on my journey.
Yeah, that's true.
And because a lot of people do have this perception, and I don't blame them, because that's where it comes from, social media bullying, because someone posts something and someone is hating on them, and obviously they probably haven't been in the space before, so they haven't built the resilience for that to be able to ignore them or ask them sarcastically, are you okay?
Yeah.
But I think it's very important that, like what you said, that they're doing it for themselves, and again, putting it out there, putting yourself out there, but making the entire focus, because you got to think about the reason why you're doing it in the first place. You're doing it for you. You're doing it to break outside your comfort zone, not anyone else's. So don't really care what anyone else thinks. You're doing it for you. And it's not like you're giving advice. You're not hurting anyone by doing what you want to do. As long as you're not being rude to someone, I think just go out there and go for it.
Do you know what, Kwame? That is a massive, massive life lesson. And that is, it might take your entire life. Because, myself, I still seek, external validation all of the time. Do you know what I mean? But that is the essence of happiness right there. Is doing what you're passionate about, what you love. And that is the biggest point of all, I think. And it is tough on social media platforms because it is so much about, social pressures, social norms, and pleasing those around us rather than
100%.
ourselves,
Yeah. And it's also because people might be like, oh, I'm gonna do what this person is doing, and obviously it's good to follow someone, it's good to have a mentor or have someone you look up to, but again, we're all different people. So if you want to please yourself, you don't have to be like them. You have to just be the best version of you. So that's what, like, for me, I always aim to be, is just the best version of myself. And I used to always look up to people, and I still look up to people. There's certain qualities in every single person I meet that I admire, and I take on, like, the positives that I find that I'll benefit from, and that's entirely fine. You can be your own hero, or someone you look up to, and other people can too, but doesn't necessarily mean you have to be exactly like them. You have to always try and be the best version of you.
Kwame, please, that's a massive thing. Can we tell everybody, please don't try to be like anybody else. There's not enough originals in this world. You have your own gifts. We all have our own gifts. Do you know what I mean? Don't try to be like someone else. Trust me. No way. And that
doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. No.
And I was also going to touch quickly also on nutrition. What is your food like? How do you, when it comes to working with clients as well, what kind of advice do you give to people that are also trying to get into living a fit lifestyle, and are struggling? Because I think more people are struggling than a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of people that actually need to know and would love to learn more about this. So what kind of advice would you give to someone that's, trying to start out, trying to eat well for better energy and just to feel good,
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me tell you this. Diet is huge. More and more I'm reading about gut health. So the fuel you're putting in and your gut health translating directly to your mental health. So what I say, like I say it until I go blue in the face. Hydration. Please drink some water. Please be hydrated.
Yes.
Wait,
can you say that again? Hydration, because that's one of the things. A lot of people don't drink enough water. Like,
no one drinks any water. There's a bunch of Sahara deserts walking around. We are dried up sultanas, and we need to be healthy grapes. Okay? Please drink water. Think about your body. It's a system. It needs to circulate. We're made up of 70-something% water. We need to be circulating, moving our bodies, drinking our water, being hydrated, and healthy, nutritious food, an abundance of it, and a diverse range of things for our gut. Yeah, less processed.
Awesome. I think I'm going to have you again on our podcast, because I love gut health, and it will be awesome for us to specifically just talk about that, because I personally think it plays such a big role. Even just your mood, because obviously, like, 80 to 90% of our serotonin levels are in our gut as well. So it makes a huge difference when we do have a good gut health. That's why they say it's our second brain. But yeah, that would be awesome actually to talk about that further, because
100%.
It's something I'm actually very passionate about when it comes to, like, talking about gut health. I love it.
It's so true though. It's so true. Like, you've really got to think these super processed things, these super high sugar foods. Imagine it like anything else, even on the same broad spectrum as sort of alcohol and other toxins, right? You put those things into your body will react in shock, but it'll end up causing really erratic moods, all of these things, as well as all the other, functions going down.
That's awesome. Like, dude, I could talk forever about this as well. But with that being said, I'm going back to you. So, when it comes to our nutrition and stuff like that we touched on about, you, like, again, with your approach for food, it's a more sustainable approach. When you were talking about nutrition, do you ever have times where you have like chocolate bars or processed foods as well to keep that balance in your diet?
Yep. I still have these things, but the majority, the bulk of my food is non-processed, good. When I say wholesome foods, I mean, diverse range of vegetables, a good carbohydrate.
Not just chicken and broccoli, all right?
No. Look, no. Oh God, I've gone through those periods of time, and you never want to see chicken. You never see broccoli ever again, right? No, you've got to have a bit of flavor. Throw a bit of spice on there, throw a few sauces on there, because I train so much. I've developed such high muscle mass as well. I've got also, I stay fairly lean, even though I eat certain things, predominantly healthy, but also something fat. Do you know what I mean? And I can afford to eat that because I do so much exercise and I've built up that muscle mass.
Yes. And that's good as well, and that's something I really, really love. When we both started bodybuilding, we probably were onto like the whole bro diet for such a long period of time back in the day. And I used to preach that, I'm not gonna lie, because it's what I believed in. And my whole perspective changed on things. And someone would come up to me and they'll need advice, and I would not tell them to go eat chicken and broccoli anymore, and I'll more assess what they do like overall in their day, what foods they actually enjoy, what foods make them happy, rather than just being like, hey, go eat chicken and broccoli. Or it's a whole, like you said, fitness and health is way past the aesthetic part. It's about how you feel too. 100%. So that plays a role.
And guess what happens? Guess what happens when you start saying this food is good and this food is bad? You start developing a really, really poor relationship with the food around you. And then that causes you more mental stress, because if you indulge in something that you think is bad, it might throw off your entire routine, especially if you're really hardcore, you count calories and things like,
Right. We need a part two. We need we need number two. I feel like there's just so much to talk about. There's just so much to talk about. But
I love it.
Thanks so much for coming on, Seb. Just quickly again before we go, what is your social media handles for both your Instagram, your personal, and your business one?
Yeah. So seb.guilhaus. It's a funny, very strange spelling.
I was gonna say, could you spell it out? If not, I'm gonna put it out. Yeah. Guilhaus, the last name, Guilhaus, and sgwellnesswarriors, all one word for the business. I reckon that'll be, because this is going to be a audio and visual podcast as well. Yeah. Thanks so much, Seb, for coming on. Pleasure. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We're clocking out the pre-workout podcast. Your boy is out. Peace.